In the first half of the video, I will show you how to create material which will use object orientation as a mask to animate and change color for the winning icon. And in the second half, I will show you how to use Verse to code spinning functionality for our lottery wheel. So let's get started. I prepared these 12 item granters, and I will use them when we'll spin wheel, it will grant the item. It's a simple setup, so on granted action, keep all, so we don't want to remove players' items, then grant current, then item definition, so I just added some random weapons, enable on game start, receiving players, it's up to you who can receive that. In my case, when I will press button, my wheel, like lottery wheel, will spin and it will grant the item, so then it means it trigger a player. And everything else is by default. We don't need any events here because we will use Verse for that. I will add plane because I will just create cylinder here and the ground is not even. So this plane will be like for me for modeling. I'm going to modeling, cylinder, drop cylinder here. I already tested, so I know dimensions. You can experiment what you need. So mine is 200 by 100 and I want 12 sides because we have 12 items. Everything else is default. This is where I want to save. It's fine and accept. Yep. So now I will just put it on the side, move it up. And what I want else is to make face to look flat to the sideways. So basically, let me show you just like that. And this will be winning side. Okay, now I want to edit pivot point. So it's messed up right now. I will put it in the center. So it's the center of the model and center here. It's super important in here because it won't spin properly. And I will set all rotation to 0. Like that. Accept. Okay. Now it's done here. Can remove the plane. Now I need to convert this into prop. Right click, scripted actor actions, convert to prop. Doesn't matter what type is it. So metal. So it's cylinder now as a prop. It's not a static mesh anymore. In here, I'm not sure if it's affecting or not, but it's good to practice. If you want to move your prop, set it to movable, because sometimes engine may not like it. So this is done. Now I want to add just cards. In the best scenario, you probably will want your custom 3D mesh for this with proper places for the textures. I'm just like using this as a placeholder. So I'll add plane now. Rotate 90 degrees. And now I need to parent this to the cylinder. So just like drag and drop on the cylinder. Okay. I need to switch back to movable. Yep. So because our cylinder is movable now, and this one should be movable as well. So now again, drag and drop on the cylinder, and it's now parented. And I need 11 more copies of this. If we will select first plane and then select cylinder, you see our gizmo now in the middle of the cylinder. And just by holding Alt and rotating, we can place it like that. Ignore that we duplicating cylinder as well, because later I will delete extras. But this way, really quickly, we can place these cards. So now we can grab all planes. And drop them into the first cylinder, select rest cylinders, and delete. Let's create material. Let's create maybe a folder first. I will set my material to unlit. It all depends on your needs. I think it will be nice if nothing can affect look of these icons. So they basically will glow and not receiving any extra light from the level. Okay, so we can start from creating the mask itself. So let's search for the object, and we have object orientation. Okay. Then I need component mask. We're receiving vector 3, so it's XYZ. And then with component mask, it's RGB, but it's actually XYZ as well. So we must using mask to isolate what exactly axis we want. So in this case, it will be Y. So when getting this mask, then I will create power. I like to use power for the contrast. Okay. And seal. So it's sealing. What this sealing does, so it's basically when we will receive a mask based on the rotation, it will have some gradient. So it's not perfect 0 or 1 mask. That's why I will play with a contrast just to adjust like how much gradient I want. And sealing, it basically, when we're receiving this with decimal numbers, like float numbers, let's say like 0.5, sealing will round it to a bigger number. So it's to the 1. There is another node called floor. This one would round it to the lowest number. So if we would have like 0.5, it still would round it to 0. But in my case, I want round it to 1. Okay. And I can even show you preview how this will look. So let's add it to the missive. Okay. I will close this for now. And right click, create material instance. Second one. And I will need to create 12 of this together. And actually, create as well instance from the first instance, like that. And now I will duplicate. Like that. And now just drag and drop material. So you already can see white is where is 1, right? And 0 is black. And if I will open again material, and we have this parameter contrast. Okay, so now when I will increase this contrast, you can see how it goes from the white into gray and then into the black. And this way we can control that it only will affect a winning icon. Like this. Okay, and now if I will use sealing, it works a little bit differently. And I will need to increase much higher numbers, but you see it jumps like that because there's no gradient. And when I tested, it's kind of was working really nice with a very high number, like 4,000. You won't see any difference here, but difference is that, look, if I'm rotating still 10 degrees, it still affects this one, okay? Same up. And this is perfect if, let's say, our wheel wants to perfectly aligned here like this, so it still will work. Because if not, let's say connect to the ceiling and that, so you see like we have or this, or if I will use smaller number, like it looks enough like 780, right? But look, even 5 degrees and now it breaks our mask. So then we will have 2 icons already affected with the mask, and it's really bad. So that's why like 4000, it was good. I don't need parameter for that, so I will just set it 4000 in here, because I won't change it in the future. Okay, let's now disconnect this one. Okay, and so I will use this already as a mask, and I will drag from here. RER is basically rear root, and then there is like add named rear root, and I will call it orientation mask. So then we don't need all this spaghetti in the material when it's like that. Okay, I think this one is done. Now let's create some movement. So I will make it that icon will scale up and down and rotate a little bit to left and right. So for that, I will need time, first of all. Then I need sign node, but not just this sign. There's already a function remapped sign. Okay. Then, so this is for rotation. And I will set it from -2 to +2. So it's not fully like 360 degrees, and it's not degrees, but -2 and +2 should work good. And now I will use lerp, and I'll use this mask to tell what icon should be affected by this. So we have this output here, orientation mask. So if we'll drag from the alpha and go into here, we can choose one mask. So you see, like otherwise we would need to do like this, but we're saving all these connections. So now into here we will connect our sign, and here I will leave 0. I will have rotator and connect this to the time. So basically, again, this thing works, and it's isolated by this mask. So when it works, it only goes into here, and if mask not applied, so it's basically where it's black, it will be 0. Okay, now I want in here little control of the speed of this time, because I tested before, and for the rotation it was nice, but for the scale up and down, I want a little bit slower. So multiplication by half, it helps to slow down. And I will grab the sign node again, connect it here. Now for the scale. So 1, it's our by default size. And then this is how small it could shrink. And I think like, I don't want like a lot. 0, it means it's totally will disappear. So 0.8. Then again, lerp. In here, I will input my stuff. And in here, I will input 1. Why 1? Because as I said, scale by default is 1. If we'll set 0, it means texture will disappear. So it's actually not disappearing, but it's scaled down so much that you won't even see it. So 1 is by default, and then in here it will animate to 0.8 and 1. And again, we need this mask. So drag from the alpha and choose orientation mask. And it's done. Now I will use scale around point. Scale UVs around point. And that's it. So this node is actually what we'll do scaling. And this is just only preparation and as well, kind of like a mask. Now we have our UVs, and this coordinates in rotator, it's actually UVs as well. So that's how we can combine together. Like this. And we can again do root named. Call it final UVs, for example. And maybe let's do like that. So keep it clean. Okay. Now holding T, add to text sample. I will right click, convert to parameter. Let's call it just image, texture, whatever. In sample source, choose clamp. Otherwise it will start duplicating when you will scale your texture with this. Okay. So we have this one, and we need image. Otherwise you will have error. So it can't be empty. If you will search for default, you will just find white engine's default texture. It's kind of nice instead of using some customs. And if you will want to delete that, then custom, you will have kind of like error because you lost something what you used in material. So it's kind of nice to have just default engine stuff, which you will never delete. Okay, now into UVs. We just, again, drag from here and final UV, just like that. Okay, let's create color for the background. Creating 2 colors. Let's again right click, convert to parameter, call default color, maybe some orange. This is winning color, maybe like bluish, something like that. Now lerp. This one here, this one there, and again our mask. Okay. I will use weapons without background, so with a transparent background, and that's how like it's easy to lerp them together. So I will use here, it comes our image of the weapon, then here will be for the background, and the mask will be alpha of the weapon. Okay. Final, what I want to add here is add multiplication and add glow intensity. So default glow intensity, again, this is just for ordinary image. And then win glow intensity, this is for the winning image. And again lerp, And now mask. Connect here. So let's name it intensity. I can leave it as this. And we're connecting this to emissive. So nice and clean. If I will open now this, so you see, like, we can input image, and I will go import. So I imported 12 images. Let's save it. And now, so I know that my first one is assault rifle. So drag and drop it like that. And because other instances, they're kind of like instance of the first instance, they already picked up the same rifle, but I will change that. But we can see already that our material is working. So look, if I'm now spinning, and here we go. So we have this rotation left and right, and plus small scale up and down. And our background is changed. And now I can change background for whatever I want, like this, for example. Wow, my eyes. Maybe let's say like a red, yeah, not winning, and winning, maybe it's green. It's not pure green because of glow intensity. If you will lower that, you will get better green. It's kind of like more intensity, it's getting whiter and whiter until it gets super white. So keep in mind that as well. But I will keep orange and blue, looks fine. Okay, I will just change icons for the rest. Okay, so all icons changed. So material is done. So now we can do some verse coding. If you don't see Verse Explorer, go to Verse Explorer. Okay, now click here, create new verse file. Let's call it maybe a small prop spinner, maybe like that. Device, create. Now we can double click it and to open. Let's delete this, that, and this, and just put block for now. Okay, so first we need our wheel, which is a creative prop. Let's just call it prop, type, then we will use button. Okay, then item granters. So we have 12 of them. You could add tag on them and get them that way, but I will just create array. It's only 12 of them, so it's not a big deal. Granters of type square bracket first because it's array, then item granted device equal array. Okay. So let's go back here, verse, build verse code. And if you see that now this image is like stutters a little bit, like lagging, see my whole interface. I noticed that this is sometimes happening when you're starting coding in verse and this verse explorer is opened. So if you will close it, see, it helps. So if this was happening to you, now you know how to fix it. Okay, so let's again, verse, build verse. In creative devices, there is a prop spinner. Let's drag it here. Okay, so we have prop, button, and item granters. So prop is our cylinder. We have our 12 granters. And let's add button. Devices. Button. Yeah, now everything is in. We can save. And let's go back into code. When player will press a button, I want to check if this wheel it's still rotating or not. Right? So we'll create variable is rotating. Logic false. Okay. Then I want to stop them on certain degrees, right? So not like randomly, but because again, our mask only will work in here. Yes. So I like in the best way, I already just looked, that's why I have like 12 sides. In the best way, it's by 30 degrees, right? Like it should stop. So I already checked, and I will create a variable like degrees of type curly brackets float. So this is array of floats, curly brackets, and I will input these degrees already. After that, it goes minus. I will explain in a second why. So starting, and it starts from the largest one. So it's supposed to be here plus 180, but we're starting now with minus 180 and we're going down. Okay, then I will generate random integer of type integer and starting with 0. And to get this random integer, we want to add here using curly brackets verse org random. So now we can start on begin play. We'll subscribe for the button event when player interacts with a button. Interacted. I think like this. And let's call it button clicked. So this is event which we will call when this event happens with a button. So button will give us agent. So who pressed this button? So that's why like we're receiving agent, type of agent. And right away I want to check if our wheel is spinning. So if we have is rotating, question mark. So if it's true or false. In my case, I want to check when it's not true, right? So I'm just saying not. Oh, not button, click it. Okay. Then we set random int to get random int and oops, normal brackets. And then from 0 and last one, it will be our degrees and -1. So I won't change this, but if I would change, I don't need then add the number like more or less. It will always pick up how many are there and -1 because it will tell you 12, but array starts with a 0. So if it's 0, it will stop on 11, not on 12. Now we do if go. So I'm just like getting which number will get here as an integer from there. So then I'm getting what float is there. And now I will do spawn, curly brackets, and call function. I will call it make prop spin. And I will pass agent and angle. We need to receive again agent. And now angle will be float. Okay, and because it will go on a loop, we need add suspense and void. Okay, so when this function triggered, straight away I want set our is rotating to true. So then it means when it starts, player can't press anymore. Like it will press on the button, but it will do nothing. Okay, because we're checking here if it spins or not. I will start loop now. And I will get transform from our prop. Yeah, so transform, it will give us location, so position, rotation, and scale. In our case, we need location and rotation. Location is not important because we want our wheel to stay always there, but we need then pass it when we will do rotation. So we call it position. Transform. Translation. Let's add spatial math using curly brackets engine.com temporary partial math. Okay, now station. And I will create here another variable. Let's say it variable 30 degrees. Here I will add it. So basically what we're doing, we're creating new rotation. And so we're taking our existing rotation and we're applying roll. So there is pitch, yaw, and roll. And it's for different axes. So it's X, Y, Z. If roll may not work for you for some reason, try different. So it's pitch or yaw. So in my case, this should work. So I'm applying roll and then converting degrees to radians. And I'm using this float rotate degrees. So I'm using 30. So we're still playing with these values. And now we applying them to prop. So we're doing move to. And that's why we needed position. So we need to add now position. Then new rotation. Oops, capital. And third input, it should be how long it should take to basically like move from this position, or for example rotate, let's say from the 0 to 30. It's in a second, so it's like you can set 1 second, but I want little control in here, so I will create another variable, initial speed of float, and I will set it 0.2. So it will spin, it will try to do it like 30 degrees in this amount of time. Okay. While I'm here, I will create another one for delay and type int and 15. So what this delay will be for is when player presses a button and maybe random integer will give us this 30 degrees, right? So it means wheel will start spinning and it straight away will stop because it already reaches this 30 really quickly. But maybe for interesting gameplay, we want to spin for a while and then reach this 30. So this delay will tell how long you want to spin until it starts even checking. Otherwise, it will be just spinning. Okay, so I'm using this initial speed and initial delay because I want control speed in here as well. And I don't want to override this initial. So I want every time when pressing the button, it always starts with the same speed and same delay. So in here, I will create new variables. Current speed, type float, and it's equal to initial speed. So every time player will press the button, it will go through here and it will set current speed to initial speed. And same with current delay. Type integer equal initial delay. So now in here, instead of 1, I will add current speed. So now we're spinning our wheel and I want to check if delay is reached 0. So if it's reached 0, I want to start checking where is our winning icon. So if current delay is smaller or equal to 0. Let's set current speed to plus equal 0.5. So now we need to get rotation of the probe. So how many degrees it rotated? Oh, it's actually, I forgot to explain why we have this positive and negative. So in here, if you select object, so we have arrows. They represent X, Y, Z. And the arrow direction, it represents positive coordinates. So it means this green one, it's Y, it goes that direction, and it will be positive. Everything on that side, it will be negative Y. Same with going down, it will be negative Z, and going left, it will be negative X, right? So that's why, like, when we will roll this cylinder, it will actually reach this negative zone, and these coordinates will become like negative, and that when it reach positive side, they will become positive. So now we need to get this rotation. So let's say prop current rotation. Yep. Of type array of float. Get your pitch roll degrees. So why it's array of float? Because we're getting 3 coordinates. We're getting your pitch roll, okay? And we need only 1. So we will need now separate that. So again, if current angle rotation, and we need to put 2. So it's again, array starts with a 0, so 0, 1, 2. 2, it will be our third one roll. Then, so we've got that, we're doing if. I will try to spin it 30 degrees, but I'm not sure if maybe it will go into decimals, right? And even tiny bit off, yeah, when you will compare these numbers, and it will never match, right? So I want to round it so it will be definitely a proper match without any decimals. So rounded current angle. And I will multiply it by 1.0. Why multiply? Because round will make it integer. So we're passing float, and let's say if it would be maybe 90.0, so if this is float, it will round it to 90 without decimal. So it will become integer. By multiplying by 1.0, we're not changing number, it will still be the same number, but we're adding the 0, so it will become again float. Now we can compare our numbers with rotation of our cylinder. So if rounded current angle is equal to our angle, so this is our angle we've got from our array, and then we passed through this pawn into this function, so we're getting this angle here, and we can now compare it. So if this is true, we're setting our is rotating variable to false, because that's it, we're stopping. Then I will call grant item. This will be another function. And I will pass our agent. So again, we've got our agent from the button event. Then we passed it here. And now we're sending it into grant item. And then I will break. So it means I will break all this loop. And now going back in here. So everything in here, if this is true, okay? If this current delay, it's a 0 or below 0, yeah? It's smaller than 0. What if it's not? Like we're starting with 15, okay? So now we need add else. And we do like set current delay minus equal 1. So it means it will loop and will decrease by 1 this delay, yeah, current delay. When it reaches 0, then we'll trigger all this. And this should work without sleep, but I will just add sleep 0, 0. And that's it. So this is already done. Now let's call our grant item. Let's receive agent, type agent. Because it's array, we need to get our number. So if item so we're taking item and grant item agent. And that's it. That should be fine. Now verse, build verse code, save, and let's launch our session. Okay, let's test it in a game. And I've got weapon. And you can see that it spins, 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 and then it starts slowing down. I hope this video is helpful to you. Please press that like button and don't forget to subscribe to get notifications about future videos. See you soon!